I believe the church has got to do a lot of soul searching. Somewhere in the last 20 years, we have bought into the philosophy that we need to cater only to the emotional faculty of our believers. And so we manufacture feelings in our churches. We manufacture emotions in our churches. Feeling has come unhinged from the mind and belief. Feelings are a powerful thing, but they should follow belief, not create belief. And in our churches, this whole move towards this emotional, celebratory stance that is born in doctrinal vacuum, where the person knows less and less of why they believe what they believe, but more and more of how ecstatic they are because of it, has been a dangerous amputation that has taken place. You take an average young person from almost any place today, an average Christian young person, and ask them on the fundamental questions of God, man, sin, salvation, future, and so on, I think you'd be shocked at how little we actually do know. And I think we need to do some soul searching here. What are we preparing our young people with? Because whatever you win them with is what you'll win them to. And so the church needs to evaluate its worship and its theology of worship. I'll just add a couple of points. Andrew Fletcher, the Scottish political activist of the 18th century, said this: "Let me write the songs of a nation. I don't care who writes its laws." Let me write the songs of a nation. I don't care who writes its laws. Because he believed music and the songs could steer a whole generation of young people in a different direction, regardless of what the laws called for. Music is a very powerful instrument. I wish I could say to you I grew up listening to Brahms and Mendelssohn and all this. Instead, I grew up listening to the Beatles and Elvis Presley and Cliff Richard, and my dad used to say to me, "What nonsense are you listening to?" He couldn't stand Presley's voice in the background. I used to borrow it from my friends. So I struck middle ground, and Nat King Cole came into the scene, and country music and so on. I enjoyed all of them. Music will keep changing because tastes will fluctuate from generation to generation. John is absolutely right. Understand your audience and see what it is that the audience really will be engaged with in your music. If he's given you the gift of music, it's a remarkable gift. To be honest with you, it's one gift I wish I had, the gift of playing an instrument, so that I could sit under a tree some night and just sing to myself and not bore anybody else, strum a guitar or whatever, but I don't have it. My wife plays instruments, my children all played, I didn't. The thing about music is that it is the language of the soul. You can argue philosophically in many, many ways, but music brings the emotions into reality, where you utter emotions that are expressing what you're really feeling. But music is very seductive, very seductive. It can make the means an end in itself. I've known people who took the means and it ultimately destroyed them, because music brings with it an artistic mind, and an artistic mind will sometimes float with emotions and aesthetics and not anchor it to reason and argument. You have to find middle ground. So don't let it become a God. Let it become a means to point people to God. So here's the point I want to make to you. There are errors in form, and there are errors and corruptions of substance. In forms we will differ, and they may be erroneous. Never corrupt the substance. The substance of what you sing about must always be pointing people to the truth that is greater than its instrument. Those of us in the older generation need to realize how powerful music is for the young, and we need to recognize that. But those who are young need to remember music is a carrier of memories, and if we in our churches forget the older ones, forget the elderly ones, those whose memories have been bathed in certain kinds of